Welcome everybody to another episode of vBrownBag. Tonight we have the honor of hosting Vivek Raja at Vivek Raja 007. He's going to give a talk on the AI way of reminding you to wear face masks. I'm going to give some quick notes for vBrownBag first timers. We have several channels. We do recordings in Spanish, in Portuguese, in EMEA time zones, US time zones. This is the US show. We all share the hashtag vBrownBag, so that you can send us questions if you want to get in touch with a speaker. If you're listening live but you want to send us the questions through Twitter, I will be monitoring Twitter. We also have the handles on the left, so you can actually, if you want to present the vBrownBag, let us know. We're always looking for fun presenters that want to teach others something cool, like Vivek will be doing today. I wanted to highlight some things about Vivek. Vivek is, where did I put this? This one. So this is his Twitter handle. He is a Guinness World Record holder. So I'm going to ask him to explain a little bit more about that. But Vivek mainly works as a data scientist at his startup, NextStem, where he develops really cool technology, machine learning enabled brain computer interface hardware, which is like super futuristic, right? So I'm very happy to be hosting Vivek tonight. I will stop my share, I will stop my video, and let us get it directly from him.
Perfect. So thanks for your wonderful introduction and warm introduction. And hello, everyone who's joining in for today's session. So just give me a second so that I'll share my screen. Can you confirm that you can see my screen right now?
Perfect. Loud and clear.
Perfect. Okay, great. Awesome. So good evening, everyone, and wherever you're from joining in. So it's actually early morning in India right now, where I'm actually present at 6 a.m. around 6 a.m. So I'm pretty much very happy to be part of vBrownBag. And yeah, today's session is about the AI way of reminding you to wear face mask. So I'm actually sure that most of the governments have actually lifted some restrictions, but this is a sort of a cool project which I've been working on for a while. So which I've been using this as to motivate students or someone who can actually take up and solve real problems. So that's the main reason I wanted to present this topic over here. So it might actually help someone to get started with machine learning if they are really looking into. And in this session, there are a few things which we'll be covering. So first, I'll be introducing you to what is AWS AI services. And then we will deep dive into one service called AWS Rekognition. And that's where we have our core solution present in it. So which is called PPE detection. And we'll see how that works. So we'll actually leverage that PPE detection to actually build our solution, which is how to detect a face mask. And we will try to evaluate those in different scenarios and see how it works. And of course, this follows by a cool demo. So this won't have much of a details in theory or in demo, but it's more what you can take away is like how to actually convert your use cases or services into some pretty interesting solutions that can solve real problems. So before that, let me give a quick introduction. So even Ariel gave a warm introduction. So let me like to reiterate. So this is my Twitter handle, Vivek Raja 007. So please don't ask me why I have 007 because I created it when I was a kid. I was a fan of James Bond. So it ended up like that. So currently I'm working as data scientist at the US-based startup called NextStem. So where we build brain-computer interfacing hardware and software solutions. And you can take a look at our website called nextstem.ai. And if you're interested to learn more about it, just ping me and I'd like to really take you through. And I'm a Guinness World Record holder, which I was able to get in 2021. So I was part of the 613 people who took part in the largest online bug fixing challenge by AWS, which took place in Las Vegas reInvent conference. But I actually participated in remote, but anyway, I was part of those 613 developers who actually helped AWS to achieve this particular record. And I'm pretty much happy about it. And of course, this is one of my lifetime achievement. And I'm AWS machine learning hero. And the journey is pretty very good so far. So I love to talk more about machine learning and cloud. And I'm not restricting myself to AWS. I speak about Azure, GCP, Oracle, and so on. So anything that interests that lies between AI and cloud, I'm mostly into that. And also I love to speak with a lot with community and community members. So I'm actually running a couple of communities on my own. I'm running AWS user group Madurai, and I'm also part of AWS user group India. And I also run Azure developer communities in India, which has more than 10K members. And you can find me in almost every single developer communities in India, which has TensorFlow user group, anything which is associated with cloud or AI. And I'm 16 times multi-cloud certified. I'm Azure, Microsoft Azure data scientist, developer associate, data engineer associate, and Oracle solution architect professional, and Alibaba Cloud as well. So, and from my college days, I love to participate in hackathons. That's where I actually developed my my passion for problem solving. And I participated in over 60 to 70 plus hackathons in duration of 3 to 4 years. And I won around 20 plus international and national hackathons. And besides that, I love to research a lot. So I published around 5 research papers, and I also filed for a patent. And of course, you know that patent takes a while to get approved. So it's still under evaluation purposes. And I'm very active speaker, mentor, blogger, and open source contributor. You can check out my blog, blogging websites, dev.to and Medium blog as well, where I write mostly about cloud and AI. And you can check out my repositories and Vivek at Vivek0712. And I'm actually regarding my educational experiences, I graduated Bachelor's of Computer Science in 2020. And right after that, I jumped into startup and working with my startup. So it's been 1.5 years of good journey so far. So this is an introduction about me. And let's now see about, let's dive into the session right away. So first of all, as per our agenda, let me take you through why we have AI services in AWS. So let me ask you a couple of questions. So imagine like you want to actually add intelligence to your particular applications, and you are looking for some solution to it. So let me ask you a few questions that will help you to determine whether you want to use AI services or not. So are you very new to machine learning, which means you are complete newbie, but you have to, you are willing to actually take a leverage of machine learning to be included in your applications or projects or something else? Or are you an application developer who wants to leverage AI services? Or are you an ML enthusiast, but you're just started with your ML journey, but you want to expand your scope of implementing some amazing use cases? Or are you really an AI expert who wants to build quick and accurate AI models? I guess if you answered yes to any of these questions, then AI services is for you. The reason is, let's walk you through again. So AI services are a ready-made intelligence for your applications and workflows for your common use cases with quality and accuracy from continuously learning APIs. So it might sound a bit of a theoretical definition, but let me break it down for you for easy reference. So imagine you're actually building an application or a solution, and you wanted to be very intelligent. For example, you wanted to read some text from an image, or that's one of the common use cases. Or where do you want to identify your faces from an image, or do something with images or text or something like that. So if one of your problems actually falls under a sort of a common use case, then it's better that you leverage whatever has been implemented so far, rather than putting your time and effort to build out the same product by yourself. So what's the difference do you have if you do actually do so? So the AI services are pretty much good, accurate APIs. So which means you can get a decent accuracy for your APIs as well. And it supports custom learning as well. And compared to that, if you want to really put your own effort and time to make your best accurate models, you're free to do so. But this is more for an immediate solution that you can look out for. So let's go back to our previous slide to understand now why we really want it. So if you're new to machine learning and you still want to really leverage that machine learning capabilities, then you can immediately go for API service. Just make a REST API call, and your application is now intelligent enough to handle those problem statements. Or now you're an application developer who wants to leverage API AI services. I guess that answers the same question. And also, if you're an ML enthusiast with limited knowledge, so machine learning is more like a big ocean where you have so much of subdomains, but you want to, if you're actually very much confident in one domain, say like computer vision, but you want to start exploring in natural language processing, then taking up, learning about the theory concepts, then understanding, then implementing it, then going for production workloads that will serve real problems might take a real long time, right? So, but if you want to really have some an immediate use case where you can leverage those kind of things, then you should go for AI services. Then, even though if you are an AI expert, but given that you don't have a time or resource constraint, then the best approach is to leverage your AI services. So I guess that's the reasons why people actually love using AI services in first place. So I think now the definition will make you much more clear, like why we are using it and what it really means and how does it serve its purposes. So to take back a couple of quick looks, what your AI services provide is like, you can broadly classify them into 4 categories, which I prefer to, which is language, decision, vision, and speech. So in language, there are a couple of AI services like Comprehend, which is exclusive for medical as well. So it tries to understand your text related insights and so on. And you can build a chatbot using Lex. There is TextRat, which actually extracts the text from your images. And Kindra is your enterprise in-house search engine. And Translate helps you to translate from one language to another, and which is pretty much a common one. And in Decision, we have Code Guru. So one more interesting thing while I started using Code Guru is, as I mentioned, I was part of the Guinness World Record, right? So how we actually started to fix bug is like, the Code Guru actually identifies where the bugs are in the code repositories, and it will be pointed out to the developers, and the developers goes and fixes it. And once it is fixed, Code Guru actually evaluates whether the error is fixed or not. Once it's done, if the Code Guru approves that this error has been fixed, then it shows that, okay, it's done. So actually Code Guru helps in reviewing and maintaining your code, writing some automated tests, and also points out some security and resource related bugs and so on. So it's an amazing service which you can look out for. And the second one is Lookout for equipment and vision. So Lookout actually helps you to make some decisions over computer vision techniques as well. And Monotron actually helps you to monitor your ML services in a intelligent way. And Fraud Detector, I think that's one of the very prominent services that usually used in finances to identify if there is any fraudulent transactions or fraudulent data which is coming in, and you need to separate that out of your normal transactions and data. And Forecast, it's a time series forecast where you try to forecast your sales or something like that. And Personalize helps you to build a recommended system in minutes. And the vision category has a couple of interesting ones. So most of them fall under the category of recognition, where we have a couple of use cases like custom label, text detection, face search, and celebrity recognition, and so on. So we'll see much more detail in upcoming slides. And moving on to the next subtopic is where we have speech. So we have Poly and Transcribe. So Transcribe actually helps you to convert your audio to text. It's text to speech and speech to text capabilities and stuff. So you can find Poly in most of the AWS documentation, where it helps you to read out the documentation in a sense. So whenever next time you open an AWS documentation, please do check out Poly, which usually appears below your title of your documentation, and when you click play, it actually reads out the complete documentation for you. So now let's try to understand like how AWS Rekognition plays a vital role in this AI services ecosystem. So AWS Rekognition is primarily for computer vision techniques, so which helps you to identify insights and work on images and videos. So it is like a very amazing use case where you can use it for so many problem statements. I use it for a lot of statements, and even I used it for a couple of hackathons, which actually helped me to build some intelligent solutions. So AWS Rekognition helps you to use APIs, and you can pick out images and videos from your S3 bucket, or you can upload it and so on. And it's completely and continuously learning API, which means your accuracy turns to be improving in in a period of time. So you can actually depend on recognition for your best and decent accurate predictions. So what sort of use cases that AWS Rekognition gives us? So we have seen that it has celebrity recognition and so on. So let's try to go one by one. So the first one is searchable image and video libraries. So AWS Rekognition actually helps you to tag faces and keep it as a collection, so that whenever the user comes again, you'll be able to identify the user based on his face and video images. So it helps you to maintain a very good collection of faces and images. So even that goes for the second use case, where you can have it for face-based user verification, more like it will be like a replacement for biometrics, where you can just stand in front of camera to mark your attendance or for approval to enter a particular premises or building. Then the third one is a detection of personal protective equipment like face masks, helmet, and so on. So today's talk will be primarily based on this use case, where we'll be detecting a personal protective equipment, which is nothing but your face mask. And sentiment and the demographical analysis is where it helps you to understand what emotion that the user actually exhibits. For example, if I immediately capture my my face and I send it to AWS Rekognition, it actually tells me what sort of emotion that I exhibit. And also it gives you demographic analysis, where I prominently where I come from and what sort of I'm a male or female, and what sort of analysis I have, like I wear glasses, I wear a t-shirt, and I have a mustache, I have a beard, and so on. So it actually helps you to identify facial landmarks and so on. So, and of course you can search your face, and also moderation is one of the big use case in AWS Rekognition, where it helps you to identify some abnormal or unwanted content in your images or video, and helps you to detect and take some action on it. And celebrity recognition is like a big bundle of celebrities, where you can identify whether the person is a celebrity or not. So if you actually try to upload my picture to celebrity recognition, you will find that it won't recognize me as not a celebrity, which means you can assure that it's working perfectly. But of course, if you upload Werner Vogles, who is actually the CTO of Amazon, but yep, it shows he is the celebrity over there. And of course, it works amazing. And text detection is where you try to identify text in a particular image, and you can even build custom labels out of it. And if you feel like you want to know more about this, since our primary point of discussion is not based on these use cases, I've already done a session on these. So I will pass down the links in my at the end of the talk or in the Twitter, so that you can see how that recognition works in demo purposes as well.
And we can add them to the comments in the YouTube video as well.
Sure. Okay, definitely. I'll pass the link at the end of the session. Thanks. So what about the benefits what we have? So actually we have seen the benefits of using AI services. So it's very easy to integrate, and you can actually leverage based with no or high expertise of your machine learning capabilities and stuff. So, but what does this AWS Rekognition have benefits? And how does it turn to be very useful compared to your custom CV models and machine learning models? So trust me, I have been working in custom models for a while, and it's it requires a lot of compute and building a facial or even an image data set. It's very difficult as compared to a text or tablet data set. And there is a lot of processing techniques which is involved in images to make sure you make a good prediction. So building a complete computer vision pipeline is sort of difficult, and it's not difficult, but it's more like a hectic process that you have to dedicate a lot of time, resources, and effort to it. So it actually takes most of your efforts off and gives out an API service that you can immediately call and get your results from. So that integration is very useful, and you can easily integrate that with your app. So which means it is completely production ready. And it's a deep learning based image and video analysis. So as I said before, setting up a deep learning machine learning pipeline is completely, it requires time and effort and attention as well. So this actually helps you to take those burden away from you. And scalable image analysis, where it can identify images from 10 images to even thousands or 10,000 images, or even you can do live predictions on many of the images at a while. So it's very scalable and it's very reliant and robust as well. And you can integrate that with other AWS services. For example, you can take your image inputs or video inputs from an S3 bucket, and you can interact your results with some external AWS services like SQS, where you drop your answers or results through that, and it's completely low cost. So imagine that if you are actually building your own machine learning model where you have to spin your own EC2 instance or your SageMaker instance, then you try to build your own model, then you deploy it, then you have to pay for an endpoint whenever you use it. So comparatively, like the effort and time and the cost you put into AWS Rekognition is much more and very reliable and a low cost solution for it. So these are the benefits that AWS Rekognition has. But of course, when you move to a production or a solution where you try to solve some real problems or for an industry use case, there is always a constant debate that goes between your organization or between your architects or developers to which resources or which services do you opt for. So I won't directly recommend that you should always use Rekognition, but of course, considering the benefits, you should take a very valid decision that helps your organization or business values. So now that we actually spoke a lot about why we have AI services in first place, then we saw what are the different types of AI services that exist in AWS ecosystem. Then we took a particular interest in AWS Rekognition, which helped us to understand how a computer vision problem is actually taken care of, and it helps to solve some computer vision problems and techniques. Now we are going to narrow down to our particular topic, which is of today's interest, which is how to detect a face mask. So we'll be actually using a personal protective equipment detection API from AWS Rekognition, and we will try to identify face masks from that. So to know how we are actually doing it, we need to learn what's that API actually does. So let's have some quick view on that. So AWS Rekognition has personal protective equipment. So it helps you to identify and improve your workspace safety. For example, workspace safety in the sense if a person is working in a construction, and it's mandatory the person wears a hand gloves and a hard helmet and a protective eyewear if he's working in welding or something like that. So these are some mandatory things that you have to comply to ensure your worker is safe. So to automate or you make it much more efficient, you can use these APIs to identify whether your workers you're actually safe in your workspace. And also you can use it for various use cases. One such is what we are going to see today. So let's try to have some deep dive. So how this particular API works. So what you do is you try to pass an input image to detect protection equipment API. So then it responds you with a JSON structure, which includes a couple of things. So this information helps you to identify what it really detected. So it detects how many persons are present in that picture, and it identifies what parts of body where the PP is one, whether it's a face, head, or if it's a hand, if it even identifies whether it's a left hand or right hand. Then it also identifies what type of PPE equipment that you're wearing. So if it's a face mask or face cover, or if it's a hand cover, which is nothing but a gloves, or if it's a head cover, and so on. So based on the items of detected PPE, you identify whether that PPE covers the corresponding body part. So what it really means is, this is one of the interesting and the one which I like the most about the protective equipment. So before I elaborate this, I think it's better that I show you a demo, then I explain you why it actually makes much more sense on this last point. So which is, let me reiterate, like for the items of detected PPE, an indicator for whether or not the PPE covers a corresponding body part. So this is actually amazing service and feature of this particular API. So what type of PPE that this API covers? It covers face, hand, and head. And it's time for us to dive into demo. So demo is very much very basic, but it'll help you to understand how this particular things work. And I'll also show you how you can scale this particular solution into a complete end-to-end part. So which is not actually part of a demo, but I think I can walk you through those steps as well. So just give me a second where I switch to my AWS console for a second. So I have to
Perfectly
stop
fine.
my sharing right now.
No worries. We will always wait whatever we have to wait for a Google demo.
Perfect. So can you confirm that you can see my
Console home is what I was able to
console?
see before.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So right now, let me walk you through the console. So once you log into your AWS console, so this is where we have SageMaker. So right now I'm actually hosting a notebook and I'm running from it. So, but you can check out your AWS Rekognition from here. So one second. Yep. So when you enter into a Rekognition, it shows you a lot of use cases and stuff. So PPE detection is where our current area of interest is there. So let's try to understand their demos. Then we move into our use case. So right now there is an image where a person is working in a construction site and he's wearing a hard helmet and he's drilling something into a wall, I guess so. So let's try to analyze that there is some and response from that particular API. So a person is detected, it shows 99.9. A face is detected, a face cover is detected where the user is wearing a face cover, and face cover on nose, true. Yep. Does that face cover actually covered his nose? Yes, correct. And whether his left hand is detected, his right hand is detected, and whether he is actually wearing a hand cover in his left hand, both, and the right hand as well. So this gives you a corresponding confidence, and then proceeds with your next one, which is like a group of persons where in a particular I'm sorry, like it looks like a factory or something like that. So it actually identifies that there are a couple of persons in this particular picture, so which is 0, 1, 2, 3. So it actually has 4 members. So each member actually tries to identify each of the stuff. So let's take the ID number 0, so which is the person who's wearing a blue color suit. So a person is detected and a face is detected. He is wearing a face cover and he's also wearing an eye protective as well. But he does not wear, he's actually exposing his right hand, which is around 80%, but he does not actually wear any protective cover for his right hand. And also, but his head is detected and his head cover is also detected. And is a head cover actually fitting on his head? That is also true. So you can actually verify that for each person. So this is how it helps you to identify how you can identify the personal protective equipments in an image. And this actually works seamlessly for videos. So you can actually take frame by frame and pass to your API, and it gives out your response accordingly. So this is how an PPE detection works. So now it's better that we jump to our current demo. So I'll be heading over to my SageMaker where I have my notebook. So I have my notebook running. So of course, just to mention, if you're trying to follow this demo, please ensure that you have credits or you set up your billing system properly, because this demo actually will involve some pricing. So make sure that whenever you use any cloud services, I always insist to make a check on your billing so that you don't run over or leave your instances or some endpoints running and you rack up some money on it. So trust, and I have done it before, so I don't want others to do it as well. So I think it's a honest mistake, but please avoid doing it. So it's a very, very simple code sample, which actually explains you most of the things. So this is where we actually try to identify whether a person wears a particular face mask. So what I'm actually trying to do is I have 3 images with me. So I think I can show you that. So I have 3 images. So mask.jpg, mask 1 and mask 2. So those are all 3 different cases of a person wearing a mask. And then we'll try to identify how that PPE actually works. So let me first show you the results, then I'll walk you through the code, and then we'll discuss about scaling this particular problem. So there are 3 images. So this is the first image, and this is the second image, and this is the third image. So I have bounded this box with green if I found the person is actually wearing a face mask properly. And a collection of both green and red indicates that the person is actually wearing a face mask, but not properly. And red actually indicates that the person is not wearing a face mask at all. So right now there is a picture of a woman who is wearing a face mask perfectly, which covers her both nose and mouth. And if you can fairly notice that it has a green bounding box. So which means that PP detection works perfectly. And there is an image of a person who is actually wearing a face mask, but it does not cover his nose. So it identifies that a person is wearing a face mask, but it's not proper. And there is a image of a man who is not wearing any face mask. So let's try to walk us through the code right now, which will make much more sense. So I will fill that with green, red, yellow to identify different cases. Green is perfect, yellow is where it does not, and red is where he does not wear a face mask at all. So I'm using CV2 for image processing and stuff. So I'm opening an image, I'm converting that to a binary, and I'm actually printing it. So that's what you see over here. So we need to actually import our recognition client, so which we have to use Boto3 if you're using Python. And if you are using your notebook within your instance or within AWS, you also ensure that you have your IAM service set for it. So to do that, head over to your IAM management console and make sure that your SageMaker has an access to AWS Rekognition as well. So just to ensure, and I can show you how that works as well. So under the roles, under the execution, I've ensured that my SageMaker has recognition full access. So that my SageMaker service can interact with recognition service. So I'm going to detect protective equipment. So client.detect protective equipment receives your image in binary. So I'm sending that in binary, and it identifies the all the persons in that particular image. So in that, I'm trying to identify the face car as the PP item as face car. And I'm going to fill that with green if the mask is found true. And I'm going to identify that face mask. I'm going to draw a bounding box. And if I feel that this person is not actually covering his body part, which I said, like if the person is wearing a face mask, but it does not really cover his nose. So it gives that its confidence is less, and it bounds with an yellow bounding box. And then if the face mask is not found, I'm going to draw a bounding box around the body. So which you are seeing right now. So, and your main Python code is like where you import the 3 images and send it to PPE. And I'm setting that as a point 80% of confidence. And you can set it to any confidence code threshold as you wish for, and you can recognize these stuff. So this is right now just an image. So you can even send video frames and video samples, so which can be done same as that, but you have to import your video from your S3 bucket. And so, and AWS Rekognition has a very good seamlessly, you can receive from your webcam and so on. So, and you can easily refer that to with some of documentation links, which I'll provide you. So this will be a good starter, but those are the stuff which will help you to build some innovative business use cases as well. So
you actually answered that question that we had in chat, which was, is this responsive enough to be able to process video as well? It sounds like a yes, you can do it.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Yep. So I think that answers the question, correct. So yes, it is very reliable for to hit with multiple frames of your video frames. So you can confidently use it, and you can refer to a video analysis of a part of Rekognition where they use CV2 to separate the video frames out of video. And then you actually call your actual API, which is detect protective equipment, to get the results. So your API can handle many API requests at a time. So I think that answered your question as well. So I think we just missed one single point, or maybe I also wanted to reiterate one single point. So let me take you back to our presentation. So there was one point which I mentioned, that for items of detected PPE, and just to be sure, can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So for the items of detected PPE, an indicator for whether or not the PPE covers a corresponding body part. So this is one of my best feature of detect protective equipment. You are not just detecting whether the person is wearing or not. You actually ensure that the person is wearing a particular PPE in a right way. So if you're wearing a head cover, you make sure that it covers your complete head. Or if you're wearing a face mask, you make sure that it covers your nose and your mouth. In our use case, we actually identified whether the person covers his nose or not. So which is one of the amazing features that you can leverage to make sure that the person not only wears a PPE equipment, but also you ensure that he wears it properly. So I think this is the best use case, which I want to reiterate. And that actually brings us to the end of today's session, where we actually saw about why we have AI services in first place. And if you're interested to search to look into other AI services from other cloud providers, there is Azure Cognitive Services, which pretty much provides most of the things which we have seen right today. But I'm not sure it does not provide you protective equipment. I think AWS has done a pretty good job on that. And we understood the concept of why we have a cloud provider, cognitive or AI services, where you can leverage it immediately. And we also saw why what sort of benefits it has when you try to use this stuff. And also we also discussed that it's an always a debate and a trade-off when you try to use an pre-built AI services versus your custom AI services for your business use cases. And also then we deep dive into recognition, and where we saw about why we have recognition, what are use cases it covers. And though we didn't actually look into the demos, but we also saw what sort of use case scenarios that we can use it for. And then we saw about what benefits that recognition has as compared to your custom computer vision models. And then we saw about the personal protective equipment detection API. And we saw a demo where we identify how the person is wearing a face mask. And also we ensure that the face mask is worn properly. And that brings us to the end of today's session. And if there are any questions, I would really like to take. So, right.
So we did have another question, which was, I think the answer for this, well, I'll tell you what the question is first. So the question was, is this sensitive enough to tell the difference between cloth, surgical, or N95 types of masks? And I think that the answer is that I did not see that in the response API. It just basically says, the response API today is saying, yes, there is a covering, and is it on the body part? But you also mentioned that they're continuously upgrading it. So yes. I'm wondering if you have some examples where you have seen one of these APIs gain new capabilities as time goes on. And obviously I want to hear your answer.
Oh, okay. So this is an amazing question. So just to make sure that the current API does not support a detection of whether the face mask is cloth, surgical, or N95, for an instance. But how to actually achieve to achieve this particular use case. So the first one is you try to identify whether the person is wearing a protective personal equipment, which is a face guard, which you can done with that particular API. And then you can actually pass those results to a second recognition API, which is your custom model. So custom label is where you try to label with your personal and your custom classification categories, which is now your surgical, N95, and cloth mask, right? So when you have three categories, and when you bring your own categories to it, and you have the data for that, then with those two APIs working synchronously, then you'll be able to first identify that the person is wearing a face mask. Then you'll be able to even categorize that as it's a cloth mask, or N95 mask, or surgical mask, so on. So probably this is a collection or a connection between two different APIs, but it solves your use case at the end. But of course, this is it leans a little bit towards your custom, using your custom label recognition API. But of course, at the end of the day, it solves your problem as well.
That's actually great, because yes, you can definitely filter that, confirm this person is wearing a face mask. But then after that, we're trying to identify which type of face mask. So there's your answer. I really thank you. I know you said that we're reaching the end. I'm going to give it a little more time if anybody has more questions. But I really thank you, because not only did you explain things in a way that anybody can understand the value here, but you also showed us the code, and you also showed us things like make sure you have this permission so people can actually replicate it. So I really thank you, Vivek. You did a
Yeah.
great job in this presentation.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So I think I will pass my GitHub repo, which actually has not only this PPE detection, but it also has your complete recognition API and also your AI services demo as well. So I think that will help you to get you started, and some code demos, which will also immediately try some cool stuff as well. So
Perfect.
I think I can pass that particular repo.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that it's in the video links.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I'll also add it in the. I had a little thread explaining from from this talk on Twitter, and I saw
Mhm.
you're active on Twitter, so people can find you at Vivek007,
Yes.
and your GitHub is Vivek0712. So
Mhm.
you're very much available. I also noticed that you are very much a force in the community. So thank you for everything you do for all the communities you are part of.
Yeah, thank you for that. And actually, I'm giving back to the community because uh, the the things which I learned is from the community. So I felt like this is the time for me to give back to the community, and I love doing teaching people. So here it is.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I will stop the recording and it should be processed soon.